This is the sound of the money safaris that are taking place in the future, perhaps, but it is a matter of trying to connect with the right lines, the right spreads, the right conceptual energies that are asset energies around the world, and making tours out of these tours, like volunteering tours, like voluntourism tours that are creating philanthropy energy directly, that are developing businesses on the front and the back end of these type of business dynamics, in this interesting business dynamic process where you're able to try to connect with differing processes that in the short and long term are able to help you develop money energy by following different people that are able to take you on safaris around the world and help you actually be able to develop money, as opposed to just investing in some company that's in the stock market and necessarily you just read their verbiage and their stories and the items in the flagship literature that they put out on a week-to-week basis or a month-to-month basis, that you're able to then be able to try to take advantage of the opportunity to be able to go into places and go visit places and go on adventures and consistent adventures. So as opposed to somebody being able to ask you to walk up and spend money to go on different theme park rides and such things when you go inside of a park, and they want you to spend your money and lose your money and spend your money on liabilities as opposed to assets. On the other hand, if you have the opportunity to be part of a theme park that's more so like a global theme park that has like something similar to being able to take electricity from air and be able to make it into actual electricity that you can plug things into and make electricity charge different items that are electric items into the wall from this type of radio from frequencies that are in the air type of electricity. But this is philanthropy energy that we're talking about making, and we're trying to develop it through all people in the world being able to develop energy that's asset energy, and as opposed to everybody trying to follow a liability train, everybody wants to follow an asset train, so we want to make the world into a theme park. So in essence, everybody is able to ride rides where everybody gets on and follows a conductor, and that conductor is like a stock, basically like a stock CEO in essence, and he's like pulling everybody along for the ride. But in essence, there are different rides around the whole world, and in essence, it's like a combination of sports and like theme park rides at the same time, so that in essence, you're able to get a return for your investment, but at the same time, you're able to go through the process, and you're actually like an employer at the same time as an investor of certain different conductors that you're able to follow around the world, and different things you're able to invest in. And it's similar to the stock market, but there's like the stock market around the world that's able to take people around the world in different adventures, in different ways, in different spaces and places, in different ways, so that in essence, it's more of an enjoyable time to be able to invest in a stock as opposed to just going for the ride on your computer. On a digital sense, you're able to physically get onto a roller coaster, which is filled with different experiences, and from one day to the next, where it's in essence like something similar to being able to transition your interests through that CEO, and that CEO is able to take you on a little bit of a roller coaster, and that whole company is built around the roller coaster process, similar to Warren Buffett's his event that happens once a year in his ability to be able to bring people into his world and have everybody be able to come together who's an investor in his world, to be able to then be able to try to add value to everybody, to be able to at least get one experience, as opposed to what I'm talking about now, which is in essence going for longer experiences, longer tours, volunteerism, because we're all trying to change the world together. And so being able to actually follow the CEOs in different parts of the world, to be able to follow them as though they're conductors of an orchestra, and you're following, and you get to be able to stand in as part of the orchestra, and you get to be able to be part of the business. Music is part of the world that we want to be able to build, the world construct that we want to be able to try to build by continuously being able to add value to the types of experiences that people are able to get for investing in different companies, to where they can actually be able to participate and be part of the companies themselves and be able to go on little adventures and journeys around the world, so that in essence, once a CEO has things outlined in terms of the value, in terms of the dividends that they want you to give you, in terms of investment on the back end for being able to participate in a given participation of a stock, an investment in a monetary sense, to then be able to get a return that's not just monetary, but that's also physical, like a physical experience that takes you and transitions you into different ways and places and different experiences that have to do it consistently and consecutively with the company, the ins, the outs, the odds, the ends, taking you on different adventures that are different representations of experience in a first-hand fashion. And so it's like experiences that are very much like a theme park, so to speak. And so that theme park, in essence, draws a picture and draws an outline of a different conceptual process that is, in essence, an experience, to be able to find a different way to not just give money to a company to be able to invest in that fashion, to be able to then try to get returns and dividends, but you get returns in terms of fun, you get returns in terms of friends and friendship and experience and community, and not one just that exists in terms of a social media fashion or a Facebook group necessarily, but like meetups that have to do with physical acknowledgement and physical presentation and physical proper encounters that have to do with specific companies around the world, because that then therefore develops experiences and pipelines for different experiences that are consistent and possible and able to make you unfold in the process of getting to go on different journeys around the world with CEOs as conductors of the orchestra, and you get to participate in the orchestra of the business music as you're ongoing trying to develop philanthropy energy and ongoing to get to spend some of your time, because some of your dividend rewards are come in the offering of the being able to trail the conductor who is the CEO, in essence, to be able to pull you along like in a sled, in essence. So you get to be pulled along in the sled, in essence, and at the same time being pulled along, you're also able to be able to correspond to what he's doing by then therefore being able to directly try to contribute to global philanthropy energy as the same thing that the company is doing, because you're actually being able to be an employee. If you want to, you can spend time volunteering as an employee for the company, and that therefore is volunteerism, because you're volunteering, but at the same time you're trying to add value to the philanthropy side of this business. You're trying to add value directly to the philanthropy side of what the business is doing necessarily. So while you're trying to add value to the marketing aspect, to the touring aspect, to the ability to be able to follow the conductor who is the CEO, to be able to try to add philanthropy energy to the global philanthropy energy grid, that you are acting as an employee and following this specific company as a conductor as he continues to try to add value to the world by continuing to market his process and his product and develop it as an experience for all people to be able to, in essence, consume his product, not just as an investor, but as more or less as an employee that gets to see firsthand, but also they design experiences that are firsthand, developing more unique processes for people to be able to get encounters with businesses that they're trying to invest in the first place. So it's like they build, in essence, on purpose, spaceships for people to be able to fly around in, but those are metaphorical spaceships where people are able to just ride these spaceships that are just similar to like Disneyland. Disney, the company, the film company, developing the theme park Disneyland, and at the same time they get to learn about the company. And it helps people to invest, even though that's a tourism process and experience that, in essence, right, straight away directly helps people want to invest, because they get that feeling. It's an experience, it's a whole experience, but it's a whole marketing experience for them and their stock price to be able to increase and implement processes along the way to be able to for people to enjoy themselves. And there's differing experiences and processes that have to do with volunteerism, but it's not directly applied to volunteerism because they're not as hardcore about as directly volunteering, connecting to philanthropy energy. But in the future, as more CEOs get more Disney-like, as we try to assist more CEOs in the future to become more Disney-like by becoming a pipeline or a vessel from the past days into the future days, where we're able to gamify and make more of the world's companies like films in the past, like films that are fiction films, into the future that are non-fiction films, in essence, that we're able to try to, as a company, as Digitech and Change for Game Studios, be a vessel for companies to be able to go through us as the vessel to gamify, to animate themselves, to become experiences, more so to be able to illuminate themselves in terms of experiences that directly pipeline themselves into global philanthropy energy as experiences like Star Tours at Disneyland, Star Tours at Disneyland, but except when you ride the ride, you actually actively are taken through different ways to where you can reach out and you can touch things and you can physically be part of things, similar to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory type of a movie, except when you're in Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory and you're going through the processes and the motions, you're actually actively able to hands-on be able to implement and influence processes around the world which have to do with global philanthropy energy and adding value to the global philanthropy energy grid. Because therefore, especially through our augmented reality and virtual reality adds the value to be able to conceptually and realistically interact through headsets that are able to interact with differing environments around the world, especially. And those experiences and interactions allow the ability for viewers to directly be able to participate themselves within different dynamics that they themselves are able to contribute to the company to firsthand as an employee, and as just similar to like almost as though people on Facebook are like employees to Facebook, because Facebook couldn't do it without the users, and so the users are actively participating in the employment fashion of the Facebook side, Facebook process and team, because in essence they have that data from the users, in essence, and they can full circle develop a process where the users are just as important as the employees. And so it's indicative that there's a full circle cycle sense of this type of dynamic and relationship, so that in essence the engagement of the users and the user engagement and user face combines them with the employees, in essence, as there is continuous experiences to be able to continue to experience in the future, and more film-like, gamified-like experiences are brought about for companies to be able to interact with humans and humanity, to be able to participate with them, to then therefore be able to have them influence and implement and positively impact causes that CEOs are pursuing, and that therefore makes the people who are part of the process in the crowd part of the band, part of for the conductor who is orchestrating, who is the conductor of the orchestra, that then therefore brings all of the audience members into the orchestra, and that therefore in this business music arrangement, in this business music process where we're trying to add more philanthropy energy, developing more philanthropy energy by orchestrating an orchestra to be able to play business music into the global philanthropy energy grid, global philanthropy energy grid, global philanthropy energy grid, global philanthropy energy grid, that everybody is able to be added to the orchestra to continue to be able to add value and more philanthropy energy to the global philanthropy energy grid as one, as we continue to unite our processes and all continue to play in the real life film industry, new film industry games in the future known as business music films in the future that also have to do with experiencing the world as a theme park and being able to firsthand be able to contribute to and connect to the train of the conductor who's also conducting the orchestra, but at the same time he's conducting the train, and everybody behind him gets to be able to ride in the train and be able to participate as an experienced participator that is directly contributing to global philanthropy energy, just as the same as all companies are directly contributing to global philanthropy energy, because they're all trying to solve problems in the world, and that directly contributes to global philanthropy energy, as everybody, including all companies and including all entrepreneurs, are trying to solve global problems. And so the more people that we have that are unified to be able to try to help to add value to this whole global system and ecosystem as possible, the more philanthropy energy we can get and the more philanthropy energy we can result with. Thanks again. Bye, Digitech. Change for Games. Bye, Digitech. Change for Games. Peace.